Have you ever felt like every day is just the same as the one before? Like every morning feels less exciting, and each day you feel less joy, less drive to get out there and conquer the world? Let me be clear. Doing nothing to change that is costing you more than you think. Today, I want to wake you up and remind you that the time to get better isn't tomorrow, and it's not when everything is perfect. It's now. The question is, will you have the courage to fight for a life that's truly worth living? Will you have the guts to be better every single day? In this video, there's no room for mediocrity, only for conscious action and real progress. Today, you'll discover the Stoic secrets that will help you become better every day, with no excuses and no fear. Lessons born from Stoic philosophy, a roadmap to take back your life and leave behind that dull, lukewarm feeling. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need the will to face your fears. Stay until the end and I'll show you how the Stoics turned every single day into an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and freer. Today is the day you'll do it too. Sometimes a simple accident can spark something that had been shut off for far too long. And for Laura, all it took was an apple rolling across the floor to realize she wasn't really living, just repeating meaningless days. She couldn't even remember the last time she had run. Not to catch the bus, not to escape the rain. She had simply stopped moving. That afternoon, as she walked home with her grocery bag hanging from her hand and her mind somewhere else, an apple slipped out and rolled until it stopped right at the feet of a man running in the opposite direction. He picked it up, handed it back to her, and before she could even thank him, he was already gone, his t-shirt soaked in sweat. On his back, in huge, uneven letters, it read, "Better today than yesterday." Laura stood still, the apple in her hand, that phrase etched in her mind as if someone had shouted it right in her ear. When she got home, she couldn't help but grab a piece of paper and write it down just like that. Better today than yesterday. That same night, while standing in the kitchen having dinner, she thought about how she had spent the past few months. Nothing bad, but nothing good either. Everything the same, every day a cheap copy of the one before, over and over again. The next day she left home 10 minutes early, just to try and see the man in the t-shirt again. She saw him running. No music, no watch, not competing with anyone. And then she understood. It wasn't about beating anyone, not even herself. It was about refusing to settle for staying in the same place. That day she decided to take the stairs instead of the elevator, even if she was gasping for breath by the 4th floor. She decided to eat a salad in the park instead of at her desk. She decided to text her brother, even though she hadn't spoken to him in months and didn't know what to say. And when she got home, she decided to meditate for 5 minutes instead of scrolling endlessly on her phone. That night, before bed, she wrote again on the paper, "Better today than yesterday." And the next day, the same. And the day after that too. Over time, that sheet filled up with little victories, clumsy but steady steps. She never stopped feeling a little tired or a little unsure. But every night she went to bed with the sense that she was building something, even if no one else could see it. Laura didn't become perfect or achieve anything spectacular. She just decided that each day would be a little better than the one before. And she kept her promise. Because working to be better every day isn't some grand goal. It's a humble choice, repeated quietly, even when it feels like nothing is changing. She still keeps that sheet of paper, full of dates and small things she crossed off. And when someone asks her how it all started, she smiles and says, "The day an apple reminded me I could move." And now I'm asking you, how long have you been living like life is just a string of mediocre moments? If this question makes you feel uncomfortable, you already know what to do. Subscribe and become an exclusive member to start building a version of yourself that doesn't hide. And tell me in the comments, what have you gone too long without improving? Or simply write, "Stoic at heart. I work to be better every day." Because today you decide to stop settling and start moving toward the life you deserve. 1. Define your inner compass. How many times have you promised yourself that this time, for real, you're going to improve? But after a few days you don't even know where to start? Believe me, it's not that you're weak. It's that you're missing something obvious. If you don't know what better means for you, you'll never find it. People mindlessly copy what they see in others, but my friend, trying to improve without a compass is like climbing a mountain with someone else's map. Sure, you might reach a summit, only to realize it's not the one you wanted to climb. Some people kill themselves at the gym to get a perfect body, because they saw on Instagram that that's what success looks like. And then what? They don't even feel good, and it's not for their health. And when they finally realize it doesn't make them happy, they quit. That happens because they never stop to ask themselves, is this really mine? Or am I just following the noise? Picture this. You've spent years studying medicine because your whole family insisted it was what's best for you. You didn't sleep, you cried over your notes, you did endless shifts. And now every time you walk into a hospital, you feel like you can't breathe and you hate being there. And you know you never looked for your passion. You just followed the path others marked out for you because you were scared to change, scared to disappoint them. And now you find yourself with a knot in your throat wondering, what would my life look like if I actually worked for me? On my terms, not theirs. My friend, remember what Seneca said, no wind is favorable to the one who doesn't know where he's going. He didn't say that to sound elegant or to have it framed on a wall. He said it because he lived it. For Seneca, every choice he made had to answer one clear question. Does this bring me closer to the life I want, or take me farther from it? When he was an advisor at court, he would write his letters at night so he wouldn't forget who he was or what he valued. He didn't let the applause or the criticism of others knock him off course because his compass was already set. You can do the same. It's not about writing philosophical treatises. It's about knowing what your port is and reminding yourself of it every single day. Even if no one else supports you, you have to do it for yourself, to be better every day. As Lex Fridman says, find your mission, even if no one understands it. Without it, you're nothing. So, are you ready to find your inner compass? First, write a brutally honest list of the things that make you feel alive, even if they sound ridiculous. Maybe dancing salsa at home in holy socks, cooking for your friends like you're a TV chef, spending whole afternoons fixing old bikes, throwing themed horror movie parties, reading poetry out loud. Whatever it is, as long as it's yours. Second, figure out what values are hiding in those things. If dancing makes you happy, is it because of the freedom? If hosting dinners excites you, is it because of the connection with others? If you love taking things apart to understand them, is it because of creativity? Third, put it to the test this very week. Say no to something that doesn't fit your compass and see how you feel. If your value is authenticity and you accept a date just out of obligation, then ask yourself if that brings you closer to yourself or farther away. So tell me, do you really want to keep running aimlessly just to feel like you're moving, even if it's towards somewhere you don't want to go? Or you can stop, choose your port, and start walking firmly, with the certainty that each day, no matter how small, you can be better than yesterday. Because it doesn't matter when you arrive, what matters is that today, tomorrow, and always, you keep building the life you truly want. 2. Win the battle at dawn. Let me ask you a simple question. What are your mornings like? Think about it. Do you wake up with plenty of time, or do you jump out of bed late, heart already racing? Do you have a calm breakfast, or do you drink your coffee standing up while searching for your keys and replying to a message? Do you even look at yourself in the mirror? Or do you run out the door without stopping for a second to remember who you are? My friend, you might not see it, but the way you start the day is the way you live it. If your morning is chaos, your whole day will be too. Mornings are like the foundation of a house. Nobody sees them, nobody comments on them, but they hold up everything that comes after. If they're solid, you can build anything on top. If not, sooner or later everything wobbles. Picture your ideal morning. You wake up without rushing, your head clear. You give yourself a few minutes to feel the ground under your feet, to breathe deeply. You sip your coffee calmly while the rest of the world is still asleep. Maybe you read a few lines, Think about how you'll respond to the day instead of just reacting to it. And when you walk out the door, you're already a stoic warrior, ready for whatever comes. Don't think this is trivial. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explains that small morning actions trigger a positive chain reaction for the whole day. That feeling of having done something good early on gives you momentum to keep making good choices, even when problems come. Mornings are the spark that lights the rest. Marcus Aurelius said the same thing, and he lived it. Before facing enemies, bureaucracy, and betrayals across the empire, he would write to remind himself that simply being alive was already a privilege. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. That kept him from being dragged along by everyone else's noise. And you can do it too, even if you're not an emperor. You just have to decide that that first hour of the day belongs to you. So, how can you do it? You can set your alarm 20 minutes earlier. That's it. You don't need to wake up at 5. But those 20 minutes are yours. When the alarm goes off, don't check your phone. Don't open your email. Just get up and spend that time on something that brings you peace. If it's hard to get up right away, don't beat yourself up. It's normal. You can leave a glass of water on your nightstand and drink it as soon as you open your eyes to wake yourself up. Or you can even picture Marcus Aurelius with his iPhone alarm blaring at 5 a.m., grumbling, "Time to fight the barbarians and the blankets," and still getting up anyway. Sometimes a little humor helps defeat laziness. Then, try writing and in a notebook or even on your phone, a single sentence that sums up how you want to act today. Just one. For example, "Today I won't get caught up in what's out of my control," or "Today I choose to move forward even if it's slow." Write it down, read it out loud, and keep it in your pocket. When the day gets tough, read it again. And why not? Dare to take a walk around your neighborhood before the city wakes up. Put on your sneakers, go out without headphones, and walk for 10 minutes. Look at the empty streets, listen to the sounds of dawn. Feel that the world belongs to you for a few minutes before the noise begins. That feeling of being one step ahead of the day is a reminder that you've already won your first battle, because the battle is won the moment you open your eyes and decide not to give in to the chaos. Let your warrior's morning mantra be clear and yours. I own my day. Come on, write it in the comments and mark it as the start of your change. Today I own my morning, and that's why I'll be better than yesterday. 3. Break your own traps. Ah, my friend, excuses, excuses. You know them all, don't you? You don't have time. It's not the right moment. You need to fix 1,000 things before you can start. Believe me, I've been there too. I remember perfectly the time when I'd go around saying, very seriously, that I didn't have time to learn French. I repeated it so many times it even sounded convincing, almost professional, like I was too busy saving the world. But one day, I don't know why, I decided to actually time where my hours were going, and it became painfully clear. I spent 2 hours watching recipe videos on YouTube that I never cooked, 15 minutes staring at the washing machine spin as if it were some deep meditation, and suddenly, I'd find myself reorganizing the sock drawer for the 3rd time. It was ridiculous, but I kept looking for little distractions to not have time, as if I wanted to confirm my own excuse. I was setting traps for myself everywhere and then pretending I didn't see them. Maybe you do the same. You say you can't because you have to take care of your mom, because the plants won't water themselves, because your boss asked for an urgent report. And meanwhile, that course you've been excited about is still there, waiting for you in a browser tab. It's like each excuse is a little mousetrap you've set on your own path, and then you pretend they're not there. Breaking those traps isn't comfortable, but it's the first step if you really want to start being better today. Epictetus said it clearly. Don't demand that things happen as you wish. Wish for them to happen as they do, and you'll be happy. He didn't waste time whining about how hard everything was or dreaming of perfect scenarios. If something didn't go his way, he adjusted course and kept moving. Because excuses don't change reality, they just delay it. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you start walking toward the life you want. This also happened to Ali Abdal. He had studied medicine and was working as a doctor. But deep down, he was far more excited about his YouTube project. For years, he set himself 1,000 traps to avoid taking the leap. He told himself he couldn't throw away all those years of study, that his parents would be disappointed, that it wasn't the right time. Until one day he got fed up. He started working on his channel every day, improving without waiting for conditions to be perfect. Today, he helps thousands of people grow their businesses and found his purpose. His excuse, "I have to stay because I studied this," was nothing but fear. And you? How many traps have you already set for yourself today? Don't you think it's time to really improve? Next time you catch yourself saying, "It's just that," here's how to step out of your own trap. First, write down your most common excuse in a note on your phone and set it as your wallpaper. Every time you unlock your screen and read, "I don't have time," "It's too late, I can't right now," you'll feel a little embarrassed about clinging to the same lie. Then, replace it with a tiny action. If you say you don't have time to run, for example, put your sneakers by the bed and at least go for a 10-minute walk. It doesn't matter if you don't run a marathon. What matters is breaking the inertia. And finally, tell your excuse to someone you trust and ask them to call you out the next time you say it. Nobody likes being called out in public, trust me. It works. The things you want most are hiding right behind your favorite excuses. So, are you going to keep hugging them, or finally break them? 4. Move forward with giant steps. In a hidden valley where the sun barely peeked over the mountains, there lived a monk known for his strange habit. Every morning, while the village was still asleep, he would walk down to the beach with an empty bag and come back at dusk, his back hunched and his bag full of tiny stones. People watched him with curiosity, even mockery. "What does he think he's building? Collecting little pebbles," they whispered. But he just smiled. For years, his routine never changed. A slow walk to the shore, one stone at a time, a silent return. Weeks went by, then months, then decades, and it was only 50 years later, when his hands trembled and his hair was completely white, that his work revealed itself on the hill, a temple sculpted from those stones, beautiful, solid, and serene, that became the pride of the valley. Only then did the people understand that every small gesture, if repeated, can build something impossible to ignore. My friend, that story is not so different from yours. We all want to change overnight, do something big, feel like life turns around in a week. But the truth is, those who move forward with giant steps are the ones who, in the end, achieve what everyone else only dreams about. Picture this. You want to reorganize your home because you know the space you live in affects you. A clean environment helps you think clearer and feel more energized. But you open the door to that room full of boxes, clothes, cables, papers, and it feels impossible. You tell yourself you don't have time, that you can't right now, that maybe another day. You close the door and carry on the same. But what if instead of looking at everything all at once, you just look at one drawer? What happens if today you throw out what's useless, fold what's worth keeping, and just breathe? Tomorrow you could tackle another corner, and in a week, almost without noticing, you'd have created a space where you feel at ease, where things start to make sense. And with every drawer, every corner, you're not just improving your home, you're improving yourself. Epictetus said it best. We don't dare to do many things because they're hard, but they're hard because we don't dare to do them. We freeze, staring at the mountain peak, imagining how far it is, without realizing that you reach it one step at a time. If you start, it stops seeming impossible. So now you know. You don't need an Olympic leap or a heroic feat to start being better every day. All you need to do is move your foot and take that first step. And to make sure it doesn't stay just words, here's how you can start taking those giant steps. Start with a task so small you can't say no to it. Something that takes no more than 2 minutes and improves your environment, even if it seems silly. You can throw out those lonely socks that have been sitting in your drawer for years, dust off a corner, delete useless emails from your inbox. When you're done, don't say anything, just notice how you feel. Also, try spending a minute a day writing down something you accomplished. If today you cleared your desk and put all the papers away, write it down. Today, my space breathes better. That trains your mind to notice your own progress. And if you dare, leave little notes around the house to remind yourself that the small stuff counts too. A well played on the fridge, a one more step on the mirror, a you already started stuck to your computer. Trust me, they work more than you think. Giants aren't born giants. They grow inch by inch until one day they're impossible to ignore. And you can start growing that way today too, little by little, until one day you look back and see the temple you built with your own hands. 5. Break the bubble. Your comfort zone is like a hot tub. At first, it's pleasant, warm, almost irresistible. But the longer you stay there, the more wrinkled you get, the stranger you start to smell. And yet you stay because it's comfortable. My friend, you don't even realize it. But that bubble that protects you so much is also suffocating you. And the worst part? You think stepping out of it means throwing yourself headfirst into a volcano, when really it's enough to just stick one foot out for things to start changing. You know who didn't stay inside his bubble? Epictetus. He understood it well. Difficulty shows what people are made of. And don't think he said that from a comfy chair with a glass of wine in his hand. He said it as a slave, living through discomfort every single day. And even then, he didn't settle for what he knew. He didn't cling to the safe. Because he understood that every time he stepped outside his comfort zone, every time he faced something hard, he discovered a new part of himself. Picture this. Your dream has always been to get up on a stage. You finally sign up for an improv theater class, full of excitement but with a knot in your stomach. You show up the first day and the first thing you see is professional actors warming up their voices, reciting Shakespeare from memory, looking at each other with confidence while you stand there sweating with your hands in your pockets. You feel like they're all staring at you, like a penguin in a chicken coop. Your legs shake and for a second you think about turning around and leaving. But you take a deep breath, break your bubble, and decide to stay. That night, unexpectedly, you laugh like you haven't in ages. You feel alive, happy, and each Tuesday you come back, you feel yourself improving a little more. You meet incredible people, make friends, and then the best part happens. One day they call you to act in your favorite play. Do you see? That little discomfort ends up teaching you more about yourself than all the years you spent feeling safe. Writer and speaker Elise Loehnen talks about exactly this. On her podcast, Pulling the Thread, she explains how making yourself uncomfortable on purpose is a way to find your true voice. She shares how, for a year, she forced herself to do one thing a week that made her sweat with discomfort. From asking a question in public to dancing alone at a wedding where she didn't know anyone. And each time she came out a little stronger, a little more confident, a little more herself. And yes, I know it's not easy. I know the very thought of it ties your stomach in knots. But I trust you can do it, and that every day you can take another step to be better than yesterday. So let's do like Elise. First, make a list of 5 things you always avoid out of fear. Write them down without holding back. Anything goes. It could be raising your hand in a meeting and sharing your opinion, asking for a discount in a store, singing at karaoke, or maybe inviting someone for coffee. Choose the easiest one and do it this week. Then change just one daily routine. Something simple. Walk a different route to work, sit at a different table in your usual cafe. Talk to the person in the elevator and ask how they're doing. At first it'll feel strange, but your mind will start opening up to the new. Finally, set yourself a silly social challenge. Something almost comical but effective. You could compliment a stranger on their shoes, ask the barista how their day is going, or smile at the first neighbor you see even if you don't know them. Those little cracks in the bubble let in fresh air and make you feel alive. Now tell me, what step are you going to take this week to break your bubble? Leave it in the comments. We want to hear it and cheer you on, because sometimes just one single move is all it takes for everything to start changing. 6. Become a master of mistakes. In Japan, they always tell the story of a potter who was considered the best in his region. But what no one knew was that he had a secret. Every week, on purpose, he would let one of his freshly made cups fall to the ground, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. Then he would repair it using the art of kintsugi, filling the cracks with gold, making the fractures not just visible, but the most beautiful part of the piece. When people found out, they asked him why he did it. He smiled and said, "Only someone who knows how to mend what's broken can say he truly understands his craft." Because right there, in those cracks, was the secret of how he became a master, improving every day piece by piece. My friend, mistakes are your cracks. At first they hurt. They feel like a defeat. But if you learn to look at them properly, with patience and without shame, you discover that's where the gold is. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly, the harm doesn't come from what happens to you, but from your opinion about it. Because the mistake itself doesn't define you. What defines you is what you decide to do with it. And don't think this is just cheap consolation. I sometimes imagine Marcus Aurelius in the middle of an imperial crisis, surrounded by generals in a tent, admitting the strategy hadn't worked and saying something like, "Well, we failed. What's the next challenge?" And then moving forward without drama, head held high and a little wiser. Maybe it didn't happen exactly like that, but it's not hard to picture him facing his errors with that kind of calm and determination. The same thing happened to Tim Urban, the creator of the blog Wait But Why. At first, he published articles nobody read, he felt invisible, and he thought about quitting. But instead of running away from that discomfort, he read every comment, analyzed what wasn't working, and gradually improved his writing. And today, he's one of the most read writers in the world. His worst mistakes were his best school. Now picture this. You're trying to fix your toilet tank by following a YouTube tutorial. You tighten here, fiddle there, and suddenly the entire bathroom floods. You call the plumber, pride shattered, and as you watch him fix it in 5 minutes, you can't help but laugh at yourself. That's where everything starts to change. When you manage to laugh at your failures and see them as steps toward being better every day. So my friend, when the next crack appears in your path, here's how to turn it into art. Start by admitting the mistake out loud, even with humor. Tell someone, "Messed up again," and you'll see the shame loses its power when you dare to say it. Then write down what you learned, even if it seems silly. It can be something as simple as, don't use screwdrivers as hammers, or don't trust 15-second tutorials. And finally, keep a little reminder of the mistake. A photo, a note, an object that reminds you you survived it, and that thanks to it you're a little better. Every crack you accept is a vein of gold that makes you more interesting and stronger. Making mistakes is the best way to learn to be better every day, because there's no growth without falls. And the hardest falls are the ones that teach you how to get back up with more grace. 7. Design habits that have your back. Picture this. You want to take care of your health, manage your weight, feel good about yourself. You leave work convinced that today's the day, but without even realizing, you pass by that same bakery as always, just to grab something, and end up walking out with a bag of pastries that's gone before you even get home. My friend, that's how habits work when you leave them to run wild. They control you like invisible puppet strings. You can't see them, but they decide how you move. Now imagine one day you dare to do something different. You take another route home, skip the bakery, and without meaning to, you find yourself walking past a little bookstore. At first you go in out of curiosity, flip through a few books. The next day you do it again. And little by little, you discover that every afternoon you end up reading there for a while. No more bakery, no more guilt. Now you've got something that actually does you good. That's how habits work in your favor. Small changes that settle in and back you up when you need them most. I had to learn the hard way that habits take you, whether you like it or not, to where you are now. And if you choose them well, they can also take you where you want to go. I remember one random Monday when I decided to schedule in my calendar that every Monday at 7 in the morning, I'd sit in a cafe and write. At first it was uncomfortable. Every Monday felt like a little battle with myself not to stay in bed. But I stuck with it. And over time, it became automatic. So much so that now the barista already has the usual waiting for me and saves my spot by the window. And thanks to that simple habit, today I'm achieving things I used to only dream about, because the hard part isn't starting anymore. It's stopping. The Stoics knew this by experience, not theory. Aristotle, whom they quoted over and over, said that excellence is built through habit. Nobody wakes up one day with perfect habits. You earn them by repeating. Nobody becomes disciplined overnight. That's something you work on day after day, even when your motivation is more absent than your friend on moving day. And for that very reason, can you imagine what Seneca would be like today? Picture him at the gym. He'd probably wear one of those shirts that says, "Habits over motivation," don't you think? Meticulously writing down each set of sit-ups in his notebook like they were eternal merits. It might sound funny, but they understood clearly that repeating the right thing day after day was the only way to get better. You probably know Cal Newport, author of Deep Work and a productivity expert. He always says habits keep you from relying on motivation. Because motivation comes and goes, but habit sticks. One of his favorite pieces of advice is to start so small you can't fail. And another, design your environment so the habit becomes inevitable. For example, leave your guitar in the middle of the living room if you want to practice, or turn off notifications if you want to focus. So, are you ready to let your habits fight for you when you're weak? First, pick a habit so easy you can't fail. Something minimal, like drinking a glass of water when you wake up, or doing 10 squats before putting on your shoes. The idea is to make it so simple you have no excuse not to do it. Next, tie that habit to another one you already do without thinking. For example, while waiting for the water to boil for tea, do 20 push-ups or stretch your arms and back. You don't need more time, just a little creativity. And finally, leave visible reminders in your environment. Put a book on your pillow to read before bed, or leave your sneakers by the door so you'll go out for a walk without thinking about it. That way, your surroundings push you in the right direction, even when you don't have the strength. You are what you repeat every day. Let your habits speak well of you when you can't, because every small gesture you make today is a better version of yourself being built, step by step. 8. Silence the noise in your head. Your mind, my friend, is sometimes like a hyperactive parrot with a megaphone. It never shuts up, always shouting the same things over and over. You're late. You're going to mess this up. Everyone's noticing. That parrot perches on your shoulder and talks like it's the captain of your ship. And sure, no, you can't turn it off completely, but you can learn to stop letting it be the one in charge. Did you know we spend between a third and half of our waking hours talking to ourselves? Think about that. Do you realize how many hours that is every week? It's like having an annoying coworker who never stops talking. And the worst part isn't just the amount of time. It's that most of the time we don't even use it to solve anything. We just worry, ruminate, and catastrophize. That mental noise, which could be a wonderful tool for thinking and growing, ends up becoming a curse that holds you back. And there's no way to move forward like that. That parrot distracts you, puts you in a bad mood, hurts your relationships because all you talk about are your problems, and even makes you blurt out things you later regret. As Epictetus said, we're not disturbed by things themselves but by the opinion we have about them. And that parrot, my friend, is filling you with useless opinions all day long. Picture this. You finally sign up for that dance class you've been thinking about for months. You walk into the studio, look at yourself in the mirror, and the parrot doesn't even wait a second before it starts. Look at you. You look ridiculous. Everyone's watching. You're definitely the worst one here. Every step you take feels like a disaster in your head. But when the class ends, the instructor comes over, smiles, and says, "For your first time, you did really well." And suddenly you realize nobody was laughing, nobody was judging you. The only one sabotaging you was you. All that noise was just holding you back, when all you needed was to take the first step and get better today. So, my friend, when that mental parrot starts screaming in your ear, here's what you can do. The first thing is to create rituals to regain a sense of control. When the noise is loud, bringing order to your surroundings quiets it down a bit. You know who does this all the time? Tennis player Rafael Nadal. Between every point on the court, he drinks from his bottles in the same order and arranges them carefully before playing again. You don't need a racket, just something simple. When the noise in your head starts screaming, grab your headphones and play your favorite song for a couple of minutes, or count to 10, breathing deeply while twirling your keys in your hand. Or even send yourself a text message with a phrase to bring you back to the present. That small, repeated gesture in your worst moments takes the megaphone away from the parrot and puts you back at the wheel, even in the middle of chaos. And also, give your critical voice a funny name. Call your parrot Captain Drama, Chatterbox, or the boss. Next time it starts lecturing you, say, "Thanks, Captain Drama, but today you're not in charge." Just naming it already takes away some of its power. So now tell me, what are you going to call your parrot? Leave it in the comments along with a Stoic at heart, so we know that today you chose to silence the noise and start getting better every day. Because, believe it or not, you are the one steering the ship, not that parrot with a megaphone. And if after all this you're still wondering where to start to be better every day, watch the other video on the screen. It's not magic, it's not shortcut, but it'll give you exactly the push you need to get moving. 9. Stop spying on other people's lives. Tell me, how many times do you open social media only to end up feeling like your life is a joke compared to everyone else's? You see one person on a paradise beach, another at the gym with magazine cover abs, someone else flying first class while you, my friend, sit at home in your pajamas with cold coffee and a mountain of tasks staring at you from the table. And of course, it feels impossible not to compare yourself. But I want you to really think about it. Comparing yourself is like trying to cook your dish by following someone else's recipe. It might look pretty in the photo, but chances are it'll come out undercooked, inedible, because you don't know what ingredients they have or how long they've been working on them. And while you're busy spying on their plate, yours is burning without you even noticing. My friend, all that pulls you away from your own process. And your process is your advantage. No one else has your story, your obstacles, your drive. Seneca believed that a man should not compare himself to another, but to himself, from yesterday to today. And he lived that way. In the imperial court surrounded by luxury and power, he kept up his letters and meditations to measure himself only against himself. His goal wasn't to beat anyone, it was to improve a little each day. That's why, if you want to start being better today, the first thing you need to do is stop spying on everyone else's life. All that time and energy you waste watching what others are doing could be invested in you, in moving a little further down your own path. That's the real competition, with yourself, not with anyone else. First, every time you feel jealous or inadequate, write down exactly what you're seeing and what you think you're missing. Spell it out. I want to travel to Paris like her. I wish I had his body. I'd love to have a house like that. Then seriously question it. Do you really want it, or does it just look good on a screen? Ask yourself what effort it would actually take to get it, and whether you're really willing to pay that price. Often when you see it in black and white, you realize it isn't even your dream. You just envy it because it was sold to you so well. You can even write a second column next to it with what does matter to you, to remind yourself that your path is different. Then, create your own private reel with 3 things you achieved this week, no matter how small they seem. Organizing your room, going for a walk despite the rain, cooking something decent for dinner, helping a friend, but don't just leave it in your head. Actually record it on video or write it down and add photos. If you dare, put some epic or cheesy music to it and watch it like you're the protagonist of your own story. You can do it Sunday night, and keep it for when comparison tries to creep back in. And if you feel like it, share it with someone close who knows how to appreciate your small victories with you. And finally, cut your time on social media by 20% this week. You'll barely notice, but believe me, you'll feel it. Set a timer on your phone or delete the apps from your home screen. Use that freed up space to move forward with what actually depends on you. You could read 10 pages of that forgotten book, learn a recipe just for yourself, write a couple of paragraphs in your journal, go stretch in the park, or even just sit in silence and plan tomorrow. The point isn't how much time you get back. It's using it to look at yourself and move forward, even if it's just a tiny bit each day. What would happen if you invested all that energy you spend comparing into building something worth looking at? Today you can start answering that question. And trust me, no one else has the recipe for your dish. 10. Turn your dreams into blueprints. There's a story that's always impressed me. It's about a brilliant man with ideas so big they could have changed the world. He dreamed of delivering free energy to the entire planet, imagined a wireless system to light up whole cities. In his mind, it was already done. He even sketched it all in detail in his notebooks and filled rooms with blueprints. But my friend, it never went beyond that. He worked, yes, but he was always missing something. Resources, support, the perfect moment. And while he waited, his health, his money, and his time slipped away. He died alone, his notebooks full of castles in the air. That man was Nikola Tesla. You might think that won't happen to you because your dreams aren't as crazy. But look closely. How many times have you said you're going to start your business, learn a language, change your life? And here you are. Your dreams are like castles in the air. Pretty, sure, but no one can live in them until you lay down the foundation. And the longer you wait to start, the further away they drift. I'm reminded of what Marcus Aurelius said. Do every act of your life as if it were your last. And no, I don't picture him putting off conquering his empire until inspiration struck or he bought the right toga. He did it, even if it wasn't perfect, because he knew there was no time to waste. Picture this, my friend. You've been saying for 3 years that you're going to launch your YouTube channel. You already have the perfect name in a folder, a logo designed by a friend, even an animated intro with epic music. You've even rehearsed in front of the mirror what you'll say in your first video. But every time it's time to record, you tell yourself you still don't have the right camera. You need a better mic. Today isn't a good day because you're tired. Meanwhile, you watch others start, make mistakes, learn, and get better, while you keep waiting for the perfect conditions. So, do you want to keep collecting pretty ideas or start building your reality? Do this. Choose just one goal and break it down. If your dream is to write a book, don't torment yourself over the table of contents or the chapters. Start with one paragraph today, even if it's bad. What matters is getting it out of your head and onto the page. Also, get yourself a notebook to force yourself to bring your dreams down to earth. Every week, write down one specific action with a date. No more someday. Give it a day and a time. And if you don't do it, double it the next week so your pride stings a little and you stop putting it off. And don't underestimate the power of something silly. Promise yourself a goofy reward for every step you take. When you finish your first video, have a croissant. When you write the first 3 pages of your book, do a ridiculous dance in your living room. That way your brain starts associating action with pleasure, not with suffering. So my friend, I ask you sincerely, are you going to keep dreaming or are you going to start building? Leave it in the comments and tell us. What's the first step you're going to take today to get closer to that dream? Remember, only by working on your dreams every single day, little by little, do you become someone better. And no one can do it for you. 11. Surround yourself with people who make you uncomfortable. My friend, there's something you need to learn before it's too late. The people who truly push you are not the ones showering you with compliments all the time. I learned that myself a while ago. I used to write stories and everyone around me, my friends, my family, kept telling me how good I was. You have a natural talent, they'd say. And of course I believed it. But deep down I felt stuck. Something didn't feel right. One day I signed up for a writing course. I thought it would just help me polish a few details, but on the very first day, after I read one of my stories out loud, the teacher looked at me and said bluntly, "Your story is empty. It sounds nice, but it says nothing." I froze. Inside, I was furious. On the outside, I tried to smile. That night, I went home with my ego in pieces, but with a new feeling. Finally, someone had pushed me to get better. Having only agreeable friends is like boxing with an inflatable dummy. Comfortable, sure, but you don't learn a thing. Because the ones who challenge you, the ones who make you uncomfortable, are the ones who force you to step out of the bubble you've been hiding in and work on being better every single day. Epictetus himself put it perfectly. He who fears being criticized also fears learning. He didn't just accept corrections, he asked for them. I can picture him walking through the Roman market, looking for someone to tell him what he was doing wrong, laughing while everyone else squirmed. Because he knew that avoiding uncomfortable truths also means avoiding progress. Even the people we admire today understand this. Ryan Holiday, author and Stoic thinker, says that the best chapters of his books were born after his editor told him, "This isn't as good as you think." That phrase, instead of crushing him, made him write better drafts with more intent. Because he understood that surrounding yourself with people who make you uncomfortable is surrounding yourself with people who push you to grow every day. Maybe now you're wondering, but how do I do that without ending up feeling small or hurt? First, find someone in your circle who isn't afraid to say what they think, that brutally honest friend who never hands out compliments just to be polite. Ask them to read, watch, or listen to what you're doing and tell you the truth. And no matter how hard it is, don't defend yourself right away. Next, when you get criticism, take a breath and write it down somewhere. Save it, and once your head has cooled, read it again. What feels like an attack at first is often a valuable clue for improvement. And finally, look for new places where no one knows you. Sign up for a workshop, a class, a club where no one has any expectations of you, where no one claps out of habit. It's there, where no one owes you anything, that you learn the most. If you join those who aren't afraid to tell you the truth, sooner or later you'll stop being afraid of it yourself. Because surrounding yourself with people who want to get better forces you to get better alongside them. So my friend, are you going to stay with the ones who stroke your ego, or with the ones who push you forward? And now that you know it all starts by daring to move, I'll leave you with the last Stoic secret. It might not be the most comfortable, but it's the most necessary. Because in the end, everything you do, or don't do, comes down to those small steps you take each day. And this last one, my friend, is the one that gives meaning to all the others. 12. Applaud every step and keep going. Let me tell you something that happened in my hometown that I'll never forget. There was a young carpenter everyone looked up to because they said he had golden hands. One hot summer afternoon, with the smell of sawdust thick in the air, I walked past his workshop and saw him standing still, staring at a chair. It was his first chair, freshly finished, and you could tell he'd poured his soul into it. So much so that even his master, a stern man of few words, patted him on the shoulder and muttered, "Not bad, kid." For several days, anyone passing by could see the young man in there, admiring the chair like it was a trophy, telling everyone who'd listen how he made it. Meanwhile, the master kept on working, hammering, cutting, filling the shop with new chairs, benches, even a massive table. One afternoon when I passed by again, I heard the master say something while sweeping the floor. "The hands that applaud don't build anything else." The boy, red with embarrassment, lowered his head, moved the chair aside, and got back to work. If you think about it, my friend, it's the same for you. Celebrating what you accomplish is good. It reminds you why the effort is worth it. But if you stay living in that moment, progress stops and you end up putting off what comes next. It's not about getting applause. It's about earning it every day. That's why Epictetus said, "Success is not in always winning, but in never giving up." He understood that the real prize wasn't others recognizing him, but knowing himself that he kept moving forward, even when nobody was clapping. Look, imagine this. You've been training for weeks, waking up early to run, and finally you manage to complete your first 5 kilometers without stopping. You feel invincible. You buy yourself a t-shirt that says "runner" in huge letters. You post it on your socials. Everyone congratulates you. And then, 3 months go by and you don't run again, because you already felt like a champion with that one victory. That happens to a lot of people, and all they get is stuck in an empty round of applause while others keep moving forward. Chris Williamson, creator of the Modern Wisdom podcast, puts it like this: celebrate your achievements out loud, but then get back to work without complaining. It's simple. Honor what you did, but don't forget what's left to do. Because, my friend, today you have the chance to be better than yesterday, and that chance doesn't wait for you to finish clapping for yourself. So, do you know how to celebrate without moving into the party permanently? Treat yourself to something small when you achieve something important. Order that pizza you love or give yourself a movie and couch afternoon. But mark it in your mind as end of a stage, not goal achieved. The next day, get back to work. Then, write down what you learned thanks to that accomplishment. Maybe you didn't just run 5 kilometers. Maybe you learned to organize your schedule, to not quit when it hurt, to get up early. That reflection turns a simple result into a lesson you won't forget. And while you celebrate, already think about the next step. Dance, smile, but don't forget to lace up your sneakers for the next race while the music is still playing. That way, the celebration doesn't stop your progress. It pushes it forward. My friend, applause is like fireworks. They shine, but the night goes on. Walk with that light and keep building. Because in the end, it's the daily work of becoming better that takes you to the success you truly deserve. Waking up and starting to work on yourself today is the real secret to being better every day. You don't need grand gestures or to wait until everything's perfect. All it takes is the will to take one more step, to not stand still, to build yourself little by little with each decision. Because getting better isn't magic, it's consistency. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I choose to grow every day." That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are, the ones who made it all the way to the end. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss what's coming next. Also, check the description box. We've left some resources there to help you dive deeper into Stoic teachings. Our goal is to bring you as much value as possible, and if at any point you feel like supporting us so we can keep creating this kind of content, you'll find how to do that in the pinned comment. Now, I invite you to explore the playlist on screen. It's designed to help you face life with greater wisdom and confidence. Click it, and let's keep growing together. Until the next talk, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.